Hey, hey, hey! We some pretty dope chicks with conversation, hot topics. For those relating, it's a pretty dope conversation.
What it do, world? It's your girl Shay Means, and I'm here with my girl
D-Mac.
and we are a pretty dope conversation. So before we introduce the topic, let me get a vibe check. There y'all go. I see them hearts. Let's see them hearts.
Thank you.
Let's see them thumbs up. Let us know you loving on us.
Nadia, how are you?
Loving on y'all. So today's topic is, drum roll please. Who hurt you? About to get into it. Who hurt you? This could go a lot of different ways, so pay attention and join in. Who hurt you?
Right. Lena, hey, how you doing? We see you in the building. So yeah, we want to talk about who hurt you. And when we say who hurt you, we're talking about from relationships, whether that be your family, whether that be just relationship, whether it be your kids, work, something like that, where you have been hurt and it actually affects the way you operate throughout your life. Mm-hmm. You know, what we realize, hey Dom, how are you? It's good to see you. We realize that a lot of people carry a lot of hurt, right? And though the hurt that they carry eventually affects other people. And so that is...
It wouldn't be a show without an interruption.
She hates that. Okay, so I just want y'all to know, it just made me bust out laughing. So I'm sorry. Anyway, so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about how people deal with being hurt. How do they deal with being hurt, and how do they move on and be in relationships? You want to share one of your questions? Or
are we gonna talk to each other?
we talk to each other. Hopefully you guys will join in.
I could say something. Okay, who hurt you? Some people don't even know that they hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's something. Like some people really don't know that they hurt, and it's everybody else's fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So that was my statement. I'm gonna let her jump right back in.
You know what? I was thinking about this. I was thinking about how has who hurt you affected other people.
Mm.
And I think that that's really deep, because I think that a lot of times we could be hurt by prior relationships, or we could be hurt by things that we carry from our childhood, like just being a parent, things that we didn't get, things that affected us through our childhood could ultimately hurt our children and how we raise them, or the things that we forget to give them, or we forget that's important, or we neglect the fact that it's important that they need these particular things. And I think that when people are hurt, whether it be mentally, physically, or emotionally, we have to pay attention to how that affects other people. Sure. And something that, you know, I often think about, and even sometimes when I'm talking with people, because I give a lot of advice, or just say counsel a lot of people, right? And what I notice is that they feel, to me, which is selfish, that people feel like, well, I'm hurt, he just has to deal with it, or he needs to bear with me because I've been hurt. Like, what do you think about that?
I think that it's an excuse.
Okay.
Still, like, I mean, it in a way, it's an excuse. It's like, how many times you gonna say that, or use that, or just be that. Like me, my hurt affects my relationship with my son, my relationship with people, my relationship, romantic relationship, because my hurt was the lack of affection. That's my hurt, and I could blame, I wasn't raised like that, or I wasn't, taught to be affectionate and stuff like that, and it transpired in life, and it affects people that I'm around, because just because I wasn't raised that way and I lack it doesn't mean somebody else has to lack it, and I'm gonna keep using that excuse that, well, I wasn't taught.
Yeah, that's true. But again, just from my experience, I had a
keep
hard...
that there.
Yeah,
I want to touch
that's
on
why I
that.
was pointing on to that. I had a hard time in a relationship myself, right? And it was something that I had to learn along the way, and it was things that I was being faulted for or being blamed for that I never had. I couldn't identify with what the person was telling me or was saying that they needed, because I didn't have it. Like growing up in my household, we knew that my mother loved us or that we loved each other because we said it with our words. You know, I didn't know that
Mine was
love
the opposite.
actually had a feeling until I got into another relationship, and then I saw like, okay, so what is all this hugging and this kissing for? Like, you just feel like those are acts. So, you know, you're in a relationship, you hug and you kiss.
That's what
but
you're
I didn't-
supposed to do.
Right.
Not knowing that it's a feeling behind it.
Right. I didn't know that it was something that was necessary and something that was needed until it started to hurt me. If that makes sense. So I didn't know that the happiness that I was feeling or the wholeness that I was feeling meant that it was love.
When it was
I
going,
knew it when
hurt.
I know when it was hurting me. So it was like a more to me like emotional abuse or a mental abuse. It was more than a physical thing. It wasn't physical, like you didn't raise your hand and hit me. It was like I was being tortured. To me, I felt like I was being tortured because I could not relate to what you were saying. Now, I'm a person that I will learn to do anything. I work hard to do it. It's my goal to be the best that I can be. So if you say to me, Denise, you're not doing right, it's my goal to find out what right is for you and to try to meet you there. If you see that I'm not meeting that standard, then there's something wrong. There has to be some type of disconnect. But they didn't see that. They felt like, who doesn't know that? You saying that you don't know that, who doesn't know that? So it was torture for me because I really didn't know and I could not express that enough. And what I was expressing was not accepted. And so that was hard.
That's with me with affection. Like, I didn't know that it wasn't right or not right not to be affectionate. It's just, alright, it's like, I don't know. It's just really weird.
Right.
You know? And to this day, it's like it's not a struggle to do it. It's just, I have to remember to do it. Like, it doesn't come natural to me like it comes for somebody else. I want to touch on this topic, and Lena, this is your comment. We talking about hurt. Who hurt you? So Lena says, "My molester hurt me. I think that's why sex isn't special to me. Just my thoughts. It's an in the moment feeling for me." Okay, so basically what she's saying is like, we doing it for the moment. It's nothing special about it because her molester hurted her. Now, for a lot of people, they won't admit to that. You know, even being molested or whatever the case may be, they won't even admit to that. So kudos to you for sharing.
Yeah,
you know, that's a real honest answer. Like that's real.
But you know, so many people don't see that, and so that's something that is cause and effect. You hear what I'm saying? That's something that physically happened, and so you know that you can identify with that, right? And it's something that's not right. That's something that, to me, you know, in everything, you have to try to get some type of help to try to be able to understand. And would you ever understand? Like, why would you understand that somebody molested me? You know what I'm saying? But it's something that you would have to kind of try to find help with to get a better understanding so that you can move forward.
Hurt, though. Yeah, you know, that's a big hurt to carry, and it's crazy because whether you become promiscuous behind it, or whether you become not necessarily just because you got molested means that you lose, or sex is nothing. Like she said, it doesn't really mean nothing to her. It's just a in the moment thing. This and again. Like we feel like we learn to do that. You know, like we supposed to like this, so let me do it. You know, but that's big, and also to be molested and then be gay. So it's like, did that cause you to be this way?
Well, that's what people say.
People say that.
People feel like being gay is because something happened. So they feel like, okay, that happened, so that's what that means. But the bigger thing to me, especially when we get a certain age, right, is never about forgetting, but being able to move on, right? Being able to kind of, move on with your life even after these terrible experiences that you have had. You know, the one thing you don't want to do is deprive yourself from being able to live a wholesome life, right? Or to experience love, or to be able to experience a particular thing. And what I find is that a lot of people, they hold on to that thing to give them excuses for why they are not who they are, or why they didn't make it,
why they are who they are,
right? And at some point, is like, to me, we have to take responsibility at some point and say,
Right.
okay, I identify that this is why I'm like this, or I identify that this happened, right? It was something that I just wrote here, like recognize the offense, so we understand what the offense is. Now, how do we deal with moving on past what happened to me? You know, so that I can be successful, and then teach my children to be successful, and you know, living their lives.
It's crazy that you say that. To piggyback off of that, it's like I have here. What can a person do besides professional therapy to get over that, to heal their hurt? Like,
Right.
you know, like what really can a person do?
Right.
Let's go to this.
Cynthia Taylor, I was abandoned. Losing hurts me. Losing family, losing friends, whether in life, death, or possession. And I can understand a lot of people that it creates abandonment issues.
Right.
Right. So when you feel like just you saying that you're abandoned, just losing, it's just like it creates an abandonment issue, and that's really not a good thing. You know what I mean? I don't just want to say that it's a bad thing. It's really not good, because sometimes people have to leave. Sometimes it's just not healthy to be in that particular situation. But a lot of people, they deal with that abandonment issues, and then it causes them to be in something longer than they should. They could be in something that's unhealthy. They could be in something that is just not the right place, and they stay there because of these particular abandonment issues. And so, to me, like, you know, I was a person that, you know, I did a lot of counseling, and I did counseling because I need understanding, right? But outside of the counseling, like you were saying, what can a person do? I read a lot. I watched a lot of videos. I did a lot of meditation. I did it on purpose, though, because when most people see me, they you know, to me, even with myself, I felt like this can't happen to me. Like, you know, like I see somebody getting beat, I wish a person would put their hands on me or raise their hand to me. It's going to be on, right? But when you are abused in a way or taken advantage of in a way that you cannot identify because you've never seen it, that right there is complete torture. Because this was like something new for me. It was like a whole French class. You know what I mean? I was like, what is happening? I did not understand. Right. I did not understand actually what was happening to me in that moment. So I think that that's important too. Yolanda said, be a spokesperson or an advocate for your hurt. And that's another good thing. Like, you can be that person who can speak to other people to help them deal with what you have been dealing with and help them overcome. And then in those ways, meeting other people, like those kind of support groups and things like that, can help as well.
Yeah, it can. And it's crazy because it's like, I don't know, like support groups and stuff like that is all well and good, but I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm on the fence with it, you know? I don't know.
But see, I think that like your personality is different. I don't know if it's because of the things that you experience. You're not a person that cares to be around a lot of people anyway, just like normally. Right. You know what I mean? You're not really like that. You gotta really be comfortable. Anyway, this is just my perception, to just get in and just, you know. Yeah. But when I see you present,
but it's crazy because different. I like to share my hurt and my pain. That's what I was about because to say. I know for a fact that whatever I've been through and probably overcame can help somebody else. Right. You know. That's right. So it's like.
I think that with you was just a mood, like maybe not today, but tomorrow.
But it's crazy because in my mood, like I go through days, you know, days and weeks at a time or whatever the case may be, and I do my 8 and I skate, you know, or I fake it for the 8. I could be in a mood, but if I know somebody is going through a pain or a hurt that is bigger than what I'm dealing with, I don't mind, you know, not being in that mood or taking a step away outside of my reality and stepping into theirs, you know.
And I've seen it happen, you know, firsthand. So I could definitely agree with that. So Lena says, in prison, I had to take a course called Making Peace with Your Past. It changed my whole cognitive thinking. And that's great. And that's the first step. You know what I mean? So one of the things that I am big on, and a lot of people, they get annoyed by it, because I'm like I try to speak positive and think positive. And so my thought is always to take the positive thing and put that thing first, right? So I never like lead with what I'm struggling with, right? I always lead with, even if I want to present, okay, well, this is what I went through. However, this is what I'm going through. So I want you to see strength in my experience, because that's what sharing your testimony is supposed to do. It's supposed to bring strength to other people from your experiences. So that's the one thing that I kind of focus on. So something like that, like what you just shared, it would show somebody and give somebody a little bit of encouragement to say, you know what, that's good. Like, she did that, okay? So even though you were probably in a particular situation that you had to take this class, sharing what that class actually did is the benefit. You get what I'm saying? And so sometimes we have not to lean on the situation, right? We want to lean on the outcome of it.
Do not lean on your own understanding.
That's right. That's it. That's
Don't
definitely...
do that. But it's to piggyback off of that, it's like, all right, for instance, my mother's passing. Now, whoever know me know that to this day, and it's 4 years later, to this day, that's probably by far the hardest thing that I had to deal with. So it's like, I deal with it daily, and I try to be like, all right, damn, how do I grieve? Because I 4 years later, and I don't feel like I still have grieved the way I'm supposed to. Why? Because life goes on. I gotta jump right back in it. I gotta be strong for Trayvon. I gotta be strong for whoever, or whatever the case may be. And that's just my feelings. Not necessarily meaning I have to be, but that's just the person who I am.
Right.
But it could be I could be in my darkest time, whatever day of the week it is, and somebody is going through that loss. It doesn't have to be a mother. It doesn't have to be a father. It could be just a loss that somebody's going through. You'll never think I went through anything.
Right.
Because I gave like 100,
And I mean, I can say that.
When it comes down to coping with something so, to that severe.
Right. So I want to point out something, but then I want to go back to something that you said that kind of struck something with me. So I remember we were at work, and there was an incident where a little boy got run over by a car and he died, right? And I knew, like we knew, that day was a hard day for you altogether from the morning. It was just a hard day. I don't know, it was just a day that day.
It was gloomy.
What happened? Was that the day when the guy's hand got blown off too?
It was that same week. It was the same week.
It was the same week. So we were experiencing so much that actual week, right? And I knew that she wasn't in that space like we all did. But when that family came in and they broke down, like literally I could say that I watched exactly what you're saying. I watched her like just react and be there for this family who was watching their son be worked on, or watching their brother be worked on, and watching him lose his life. So, I mean, listen, it's I think that sometimes we don't give ourselves enough credit for how far we've come. And I think that we can do it if we put our mind to it, or if we do it, like I say, we do it on purpose. What popped up to me, I just wanted to point that out because I want to give her kudos for that. When she was saying that she didn't grieve the way she was supposed to. What is that like? Maybe some people could talk about that, because what is the way I'm supposed to? What is the way you're supposed to?
I think that with my mother's passing, and it's crazy. It's like the topic is, who hurt you? Now, I never thought in a million years that I would feel like in this moment right here talking about this, who hurt you? I'm conflicted with saying God hurt me because, he allowed that to happen and she wasn't sick and it wasn't fair and stuff like that. So it's like, I felt like 2 weeks after she passed, I was right back at work. Like nothing never happened. People ask me, oh, what you doing here? How you doing it?
Right.
What I'm supposed to do? So I couldn't, the first year was like numb.
Right.
I didn't even never cried after her funeral or nothing for a whole year. And then it was not until I just had a breakdown. And it rocked my world.
Right.
And to this day, it's a struggle. So,
So I think that's true. I think that it is important to be able to grieve and get your stuff. I just want to point out Cindy McNeil. She said for her, discussions like this forum is therapeutic. I don't think that one-on-one therapy sessions are for her. She prefers open and share within to be open and share within the group. She doesn't have any issue with sharing her experiences and her testimony to help another, and that's good. And I think that that's important. See, what's important about that is that you never gave yourself the chance to grieve. You know what I mean? Because when people say, how am I supposed to? I'm like, okay, so how is that? Because my father died the day before my birthday. You know what I mean? And the difference with me is that as a kid, we had such a great relationship. Growing up with the separate, us having like this separate lives, and him moving on and doing whatever he needed to do for his life at that time, kind of felt it left me vacant. And when it leaves you vacant, those times or those particular things kind of it kind of affects you moving forward. You know what I mean? Growing up, and you don't realize. Like, I didn't realize that those things affected me moving forward. So when he died, I don't know if I really had a feeling, or I didn't have the feeling that I was supposed to have, or that I thought that I should have. So that's why I asked, what is supposed to? Because somebody else would think like, oh my God, and I was just like.
And it's crazy because I went through the oh my God, like right then and there. Right then and there, went through the oh my God. And when she was pronounced, it was like, the doctor even asked me, he was like, do you understand what I'm saying to you? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, I understand. Like, all right, now what? It's nothing I can do. Right. Like, it is what it is. Like, but I don't know. Rock my world.
Right. And that's good. Yes, true. And then it took me, I want to say 2 years later, it was like when I'm sitting there, I don't know, I was like, oh, let me call my father. And then I'm like, you know what, you can't. And then I started to cry. Like, I had adapted so much with living without him that it was just like, And
that's the thing. I can't get used to this.
Right. But see, I grew up without him. You hear what I'm saying? So we were there for a certain point, and then he wasn't. Right. And so that's why it was kind of, for me, I'm like, okay, so...
Okay.
But then as you get older, I'm like, dang, that's why I try to encourage people, like, stop holding on to those things that are small, because you don't get that time back. It was so much that I could have repaired in the process. He was a good man. He came up against some obstacles, and some of them, overcame him, but he tried to recover from them, and we just didn't give him the opportunity to do so. You know what I mean? And sometimes you gotta stop being so stubborn. You have to allow yourself to heal from the, now I'm not saying be friends, but when it becomes like family, or it comes where it's affecting your life so much so that you can't move forward, you have to forgive for you.
And it's crazy because once I after my mother's passing, I held a lot of anger for my father. And I held on to it. Like, I couldn't, it was to the point whether if he went today or tomorrow, it wasn't gonna faze me one way or another. It's not till my sister and my brothers, their mother passed, and she pointed out, he's the only parent we have left. Like, and still, I was like, okay. But it wasn't until, like, her mother's funeral where I was more mad and holding on because he didn't know, So now I'm holding on all this anger for a man who don't even know I'm mad.
Right. So who you hurting?
Yeah, I'm hurting myself. Driving myself crazy with all of this anger and this hurt and this hate or whatever. And I had to let that go. Not give it to him, but let it go.
For you.
For me.
Right.
And when I let it go, I let it go.
Right.
So it's like,
sometimes you have to do that.
Now it's back to being my problem.
Exactly. But it's important, and that's what people miss. Like, you want to hold on to this anger so much. You want to be angry. You want to get him back. You want to do this, and in no way am I minimizing people's hurt, because I'm not doing that. But if in my mind, if you're going on and you, like me, almost going into my 50s, almost, you know what I mean? For you to be holding on to something that happened at such a young age, and it is really monopolizing how you date, how you are as a person, how you parent, you have to do something about that.
Right.
Because, if you can look at the fact that this happened to you as a kid, or this happened to you young, and you are in your 30s or in your 40s, and this is still affecting you, imagine what you're doing to your child if you're a parent, and you're raising them in that, with the lack of affection or lack of communication, or whatever it is, it's not healthy for the other person. Other people are being affected by that.
I know you guys are listening to us, and your comments are like heartfelt or whatever, but I'm seeing, we can't comment on everybody's comment, but I'm seeing a lot of comments. If you guys in this live can just talk to each other and just help each other out, because there's some real ish going on in these comments, and I'm glad y'all getting it out. I just want y'all let somebody know that you hear them. You know.
Yeah, that's perfect, and this is why conversation is supposed to be had. It doesn't necessarily mean that it just has to be us.
Right.
We try to pin conversations that we want to go on, but actually be able to kind of get out meat and potatoes, because we have a good time. Well, we do have a lot of wisdom and a lot of knowledge that we want to share, and just through our experience and testimony that we feel like if we share, it could help somebody.
And it's crazy because I don't think that we knew that the conversation would go this route.
Right, we did.
You know, it wasn't meant to go this route, but it is what it is. This is the way God is pushing us to go. So
right. So Stacey Patterson said, I was hurt and mad with God when my firstborn was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, but it took me 2 years to overcome it. But God's strength is perfect, and I still have my day, but my good ways outweigh my bad. I understand that. And listen, let me tell you something. I always feel like, and my God sister, I always say this, sometimes you see strength in people that you, like I say to myself, I could not do that. I don't think that I could do that. And some people have the patience. And unfortunately, sometimes when we look at things like that, we say, why? And it's such a bad thing. But God knows who to give certain things to, if that makes sense. It's crazy.
Somebody told me that before. He was like, oh, God not going to give you more than you can handle. Sometimes I can't. Like,
you don't feel like you
want to handle it. Like, right.
And just imagine how much more.
It's crazy. Because, them footprints in the sand, when you only see one set and you be like, why did you... No, it's not your footprints. It's you being carried, so you want to get through this. Here go another one pen right here. Rosa Amanda Rodriguez or whatever. She said, my parents hurt me when they both left. So I really don't get close to anyone, but when I do, I feel like I do too much. I don't know that doing too much side of her, but I know her. She don't get close to people at all. Like, I don't even know how me and her became friends, and like sister from another mister type friends, like, So it's like you don't do too much. And I'm gonna look this way because I'm like, I'll probably cry. I'm not gonna look at her. She don't do too much, but her heart is big. And I feel like she doesn't let that abandonment take away from her big heart, because when she do love, whether you're a friend or whatever, she loves like wholeheartedly. Now, what she don't do is forgive very easily, because I don't think that she forgave her parents.
Right. And that's important. I mean, I cannot tell you how, because I want to say that my father is deceased. And so forgiving him now, what does that matter? Right? But I still had to do it, if that makes sense. I still had to do it, because if not, I'm still going to be like, if he wasn't that, he never did this. I can't do that. You know what I mean? I understood then when all of this happened, just through, again, study and reading and counseling and things of that nature, and just conversing. That's why conversation is so important to me. That's why I kind of dive into it. Like, I could talk too much. But I know that, it's important, because I feel like that helped me understand why I was like that, why I didn't know how to love, why I didn't understand, why did I block this out, why couldn't I love past a certain point? Because once you're hurt to such a place, or you're hurt in especially a special place like your heart, it's like you block it out to protect yourself. It's not that you block it out because you don't want to do it, because you want to do it. You think you're doing it.
And sometimes you subconsciously
I was just about to say, you do it without even knowing that you're doing it.
Right.
And I mean, I want to say I was 30 something, and I think that I was doing like 2-3 different counselors, because this is not a way that I want to feel. I'm a positive person. I like to think positive. I like to move positive. And I do not like to feel like something has control of me. Not a person, not a thing, not a feeling. So it's important to me to identify what I'm going through so that I can fix it. And again, not for other people, but for me. And so I had to identify what this was, and it got down to the nitty gritty. Like, this really comes from a place of your father. And that's something that that took me by surprise, because I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm tough like this because I need to be tough like this, and this is who I am and whatever. But you were doing that to protect yourself. You were shutting people out to protect yourself.
Definitely.
Right?
It's like me. My brother died when my father has kids. My mother only had 2. It's me and my brother. So if I didn't have Trayvon, as far as that immediate bloodline, just me, her, and him, if I didn't have him, I would be, lost in the sauce all by my lonesome. But, when my brother died when I was 17, I felt that. Like, I changed totally. I got into the streets. I felt like I had to, if I'm going to be in the streets, nobody got my back because he ain't here. Mm-hmm. So I had to be, it wasn't like a portrayal because it became me or whatever, but I had to be this person that say something. Mm-hmm. Like, I dare you. Right. Like, if I say I was going to slap the shit out you, that's what I had to do because I said it. Like, it I don't know. That hurt, that different type of hurt changed me. It created a lot of other things. My mother's type of hurt changed me. It made me, I feel weak. Mm-hmm. It made me that. Vulnerable, yeah. My father's hurt changed me to the point that I feel like, all right, if I lost her and I'm still breathing, I can lose anybody and I'll be all right at the end of the day, So I don't know. I never really had like romantic relationship hurt. Of course, I've been cheated on. I've cheated on and stuff like that, but I've never had that hurt. Even from first, from your first boyfriend to my first girlfriend, like first girlfriend, it was like a hurt, but it wasn't like nothing I couldn't
get over.
Yeah, it wasn't that, And even with being like, hurt and you get sick and you throw up and stuff like that and you just want to cry, I still, like, now looking back at it, that wasn't.
That was nothing. And the thing for me, I feel like God used the relationship hurt to teach me a lot. Mm-hmm. I think that I had so many opportunities to find love or to love, and because of what I had experienced, it was like pushing people away. It wasn't allowing people to actually get what God knows is in me.
I've done that.
And I want to say that hurt, I can say for certain that particular hurt was, 10 years ago? Mm. And I have never been in a relationship since. Mm. Like, had a committed relationship.
And it's crazy because growing up, how I seen relationships to be in my household was like, it wasn't a committed relationship. Right. It was like, all right, yeah, that's who you with, but they with this person and they with that person, mm-hmm. and that's fine. And for a long time, until I got into this relationship, for a long time, that's how I operated.
Right. That's and so, like me now, what I did was I had to step back. I had to heal a lot because it was important. And I feel like I want to love so bad, but I want to love the right person. And unfortunately, you don't know when you're doing that. But I know that I'm more cautious and not overly cautious at this point, but I pay attention to people's behaviors. I'm really big on energy, and I think that that's something that kind of keeps us connected because mm-hmm. we've been connected for a long time and mm-hmm. never was never really disconnected.
Right.
But I think that God used that particular set of hurt to kind of teach me something. Like, I needed to understand what it felt like to be hurt. Like, I'm thinking that I was hurt by my father, but you don't know hurt. That mm-hmm. wasn't hurt, and you have to understand. And it was something that because I'm big on
you
this.
You had a scrape by your father.
I teach my children strength by my experiences, right? And it was something that I heard one day, and I told my son, I said, if God had allowed your father to be in your life when you feel like you needed him, you wouldn't be the man that you are today.
That's true.
And God had to show me that.
Somebody told me that too growing up when I had so many complaints about this, that, and third, like, or whatever. So it's like, if you didn't go through that, if your mother wasn't your mother, or your father wasn't your father, and you didn't see what you saw, you wouldn't be who you are.
Right.
So I'm not mad at the hurt.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm not going to continuously wear it, but I'm not mad at the hurt, you know? But it's even with relationships, romantic relationships. I'm not mad at hurt, you know, or I can't hold on to who hurt me or who I've hurt. You can't, at the end of the day, you just can't hold on to it.
For you. And it's just like, Thankful Melly Mel, he has like this long name. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, a person's behavior will teach you who they are, and it is. And they also say, like, if a person tells you who they are, they show you who they mm-hmm. are, believe them. Like, sometimes with us, but I'm like, oh.
We like, oh. But is that the truth? Because they've probably been one way for so long, they don't know nothing else.
And the thing that I want to counter that with is what she said, but is it your job to deal with that?
But it's not deal.
Right, because here's the thing.
But show.
It's a difference with someone who wants. And that's my point. If you do not want to get over this, if you do not want to take the steps, if you're not doing or healing on purpose, there's nothing I can do for you. I'm not going to sit here and beg you to feel better or beg you to get over or beg you to see the importance of healing and moving past it for not just you, but for your kids or those who you say you love. I'm not going to beg you to do that.
It's not your job to do it.
Right.
But
I
as
can
a
be
person
very
who
patient.
you are,
Yeah.
you show.
Right.
Not
Well,
even that you have to, just show.
Well, you know me, because you even tell me, you be like, okay, you're doing too much. Like, she tells me I do too much all of the time, because I go over and above, trying to help people. She be like, okay, enough is enough. Because I go far. Like, I really want you to get it. I really want you to know. I want to show you.
I call her Super Saver Hoe.
Because you know what? You could do something to me, unless you really hurt me or disrespected me, to an extent, because I don't take much. But I'm going to do everything that I possibly can to show you or to help you. That's just who I am, right? But some people are not worth that.
It's the truth.
Some people are not worth, and we have to understand that, and we have to be okay with that being the answer. You know what? Is this person really worth this? You know what I mean? Is this worth the relationship? Because sometimes it's not successful in a relationship. It may be more successful in a friendship. Because everybody that I have dated, I could be friends with. I have a healthy relationship with even the person that I felt like I would have been destroyed.
Trayvon's father.
I felt like you destroyed my life.
Why?
And I would not know how to operate. I mean, this was my mother told me in this relationship. She said to me,
came on soon.
She did? Okay. Well, she said to me, Denise, I've never seen you cry since you were a little girl. And when she said that to me, I thought about it like, did I see myself cry? Because it was like, in this relationship, I mean, it took me to my lowest points. But the build-up, I mean, it makes me awesome. It makes me amazing. And so that's why I'm kind of cautious now. Like, I'll date and I, entertain or whatever the case is. But, for me to say we're going to commit, I need to see that we might not be on the same level, but we need to be going towards the same goals, or we at least being in the same direction. I have no time for wasting time anymore. I'm too old. That almost 50 is
knocking at the door. McNeil says, I tell my kids all the time, if someone shows you who they are, believe them. And it's the truth. But sometimes, like, you can tell somebody that a million times and they just gotta see it
they gotta
for themselves,
see it,
because it's even work hurt. Talk about work hurt.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not
hurt becomes strength. That's good.
That is true though. Work hurt. Let's see. How can I say it without saying it? I'm not big on anything at work. I'm not big on anything. I'm not big on people. I can do without a lot. But my wife, on the other hand, she's loyal to a fault. And sometimes her loyalty to people, it backfires,
And it's not reciprocated.
It's not reciprocated, or whatever the case may be. So that work hurt, knowing that she's been hurt at work time and time again, that leaves me in a place where it's like, fuck y'all. Like, y'all ain't for nobody but for yourselves, or whatever the case may be. And it's not with everyone, but you just don't know who's gonna be the one to stab you in the back. I mean, you could go through life like that, or whatever the case may be, but that's a work hurt, Who's gonna be the one when you've been loyal and you did what you asked, as a subordinate, and you just that, and then she's still loyal to her.
That was waiting for you to finish so I can say that. But
to this day, because me, I'm like, fuck them. I'm not talking to them no more. Like, fuck them. I don't excuse my friends, because we don't allow y'all to say the F words and the B words on the post if y'all type in, if y'all know this. But we live. So it's like, you know, like, fuck them. Call my phone, like, fuck them.
And she be like that.
Yeah, I be like that.
She be
I be like that. But here it is. She's been backstabbed and fucking left for dead and still be like, don't be like that.
But you know what? Even though that's a hard place to be, but that's the place that you need to be, because you know what? It's not affecting them, like you just said with your father. So if you go on and you are hurt by these people and you keep carrying it on, it's hurting you more than it's hurting anybody.
Right. And
I was
again,
gonna
because
say that she's
I
not
haven't
like that.
said
Right.
anything and still would be wanting to say,
Right.
let me just tell them what I know.
Right.
She's still like, no.
Right.
Let it go.
And I was gonna say she's 100% like that. She's like that all across. You would never even really see that she's hurt because she doesn't really show that. You know what I mean? And I want to say, like, even for me, I don't know, like, work hurt. I don't know. If I could say that I experienced work hurt, because I have like a Batman and Robin type of thing.
And it's crazy because I'm in a position where I have to speak to so many different people, and it's like that hurt her, you know.
Right.
So it's like
you still have to be.
I still got to be professional at the end of the day, and at work, everybody knows that we're two individuals.
Right.
Like, we don't talk about it, we don't speak about it. If you don't know, you don't know, and it is what it is. Like, you know.
So I'm like
so
Clark
that's hard
Kent when it comes to that,
that's
right?
hard.
So I could be one way. I'm like, but I got 2 seconds before I flip it around, right? I just don't. I don't really have the tolerance for that. But I am, to me, and from what I've experienced with other people, like one of the nicest people and the most dedicated people in our job. Like, you know, on the job, I have a lot of patience and a lot of time. I do the peer support, but I have a lot of patience in trying to help people, you know, kind of navigate through that. However, what hurts me more, especially at work, is I don't like when people call you friend, or they claim to know you, but they don't really know you, right? If you say you know me, then my character should speak for me, right? So if somebody comes to you and says that I did something, my character should be able to speak up for me, right? You should be able to say, she didn't do that. Like, you know, like I would know if somebody said, Shay did this, I'd be like, like I would have to see it. Now, you can never really say a person didn't do something, but you can understand some things. It's just about the character. It's about the integrity of the person. Like, come on, like really? But when you say that you're friends or you're loyal or you're cool, and then one thing can turn you off, those things annoy me. But I don't really I have this motto, and again, y'all probably not see me curse a lot on here, right? But this is my motto. I tell people, and can you say the F word, because I feel so bad to say that.
She got,
go ahead, 5.
She got 5 fucks.
Right. I come to work with 5. I'm not giving up my
5 fucks
for nobody. I'm just not. So if I give you one, it's definitely worth it. I come with 5, so I'm always like, because you ain't getting me there. You're not gonna take. Because if I go there now, then I'm suspended for a reason. I'm reprimanded for a reason. I don't, like we were talking about it today. I have it's no gray area for me. It's black or white, and it is what it is. I try to kind of navigate through it to try to be kind of diplomatic, but I don't have that. But I come with 5. Anything that I do is 5 of them. You give yourself a number. If this is the actual thing, and if you like TED Talks, TED Talk actually has one to teach you about. You have the opportunity to decide what you're gonna eat, where you're gonna go, who you're gonna hang out with. So you have the opportunity to dictate who you give to, or you know what you give about. And so that's how I navigate. I'm telling you, you're not gonna make me give up about that. You're just not gonna do it, because I'm looking at you like I really don't give a fuck about that. I'm just not. And
it's crazy because I've been asked by a higher up, like, tell me about yourself. Well, my name is Shanae Means. At the time, I was on the job for 14 years. I've been a level 3 for, I think at that time it was about 2 years, and you would never hear my name. You would never hear me said this, that, and the third. Just not doing it. That catty shit and that talk.
Yeah, we don't get that.
I'm not doing it. So,
So like if I have a story to tell, I come to. I'm like, come here. You know. So we'll tell our stories to each other, but we just don't do that. We never.
Never. So if I hear my name in something,
I've never heard your name enough.
But if I do, I want to go straight to the source.
Yeah, that's me. I'm a
source.
Because
I know. Don't tell me nothing and don't want me to go to the person and say something.
That's me.
Yeah, don't tell me nothing about me.
Right.
You know, oh, you know.
And Rosa was they. Don't tell me about they.
Yeah, Rosa, oh, you know, they said that you was on that. Who the fuck is they? Ain't no they, nothing. Who said what?
Who's they?
Oh, Rosa said that. All right, well,
go get Rosa.
Yeah, do that.
That's how we are.
Up front in your face. Like, no, we're not doing that.
We said that even about this. We were like, oh my God, we got these three people together before we got other people to help us. We were like, who's going to calm us down? You know, because it's like we go, like, it could be really bad, right?
Mm-hmm,
but it's not really bad fast. You know, I'm just designed to not let you have so much control over me.
I get really bad fast.
Yeah.
That's why I try to say, I talk to a lot of people. I try to say in my room.
And here be, I be down the hallway like, hey,
how you doing, Matt? Let's go to the bathroom. That's like,
hi, how are you? You okay? You good? How's your family? Okay. Everybody's okay? She be like, you talk too much. Okay.
Talk too much.
I like to say hi to people. You know, I want people to feel like, you know, I see them. Especially I'm a peer counselor. I need them to be
all right, but you ain't counseling or whatever. Let them come to you and tell them who hurt them.
Yeah, but I have to make them trust me. And to trust me, you know, to know me is to love me. That's it. If you don't take the opportunity
no. To know me is to love me.
To know me is to love me.
Where's she
Who's up here? Let's unfuck that. I'm in that. I'm in that.
She name growing
y'all
up.
know.
You ask her name, she'd be like, to know me, to love me, Ikea. Some dumb shit she used to say, or whatever the case may be.
Okay, so here's a question that I wrote down. Do you believe in the transfer of hurt or pain?
Yes.
Mac for mayor. See what I'm saying? Come on.
Yes.
Let's pull on to that. Mac for mayor.
Mac for mayor.
Yeah. So do you guys believe in the transfer of hurt or pain?
Yes, I think energy is real.
Right.
You know, and it's crazy because somebody up there said, a lot of people used to say, hurt people. And it is the truth. It may not be in the same form that they were hurt, but that transfer of pain, it definitely, if you don't check yourself, you can definitely, you wreck yourself. But you can definitely transfer that pain.
Right. And people don't understand. And that's even in relationship.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. You get in a relationship, you're so happy, it's healthy. Oh, I met this guy. Oh my God, he got the beard I like. He dark, he got that bald head, all that good.
Mm-hmm.
And now you telling him about this guy who beat you and this is why I can't do this because I'm sick. Don't nobody got time for that. You know, and to me, I just feel like do something about it before you enter into it. At least you have some type of understanding. You understand what it is and why it is that you're hurting. You understand why you're in that position. That way you can properly articulate it to somebody, and maybe somebody would have patience and maybe have time for that. But nobody is going to just sit around and just deal with that. Sometimes people latch on to people who hurt them. They do that. They do that too. But I just feel like it's important for you to...
But they latch on to people that hurt them because it's what they used to.
That's what they used to. And what they're able to do. That's it. And then sometimes at some point, people feel like that hurt or that abuse, that's love. You know what I mean? I see a lot of people like, he loves me, but he just gave you a black eye. Okay. I don't want that kind of love.
You love the other one too.
Right. But let me tell you what happened to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew abuse, physical abuse, but I didn't know mental abuse. I didn't know emotional abuse. That's abuse that you cannot see. That if you're not aware of, you're not conscious of it, that thing will tear you apart. And that's what happened to me. That was I didn't understand that. I didn't know that. So punch me in the eye. At least I know why my eyes hurting and why it's black and what I got to do to heal it.
That's right.
But when you, right now, listen, I got a trick for you. If I let somebody into me, you try that. Listen, I got a trick for you because I'm prepared for that. It's like, you know, I'm like I'm a A-lister when it comes to that now because I'm able to identify it. I'm able to sense it. I'm able to discern it. And so I know better than to enter into those waters. You know, I know the signs and things like that because a lot of times there are signs and we just ignore them. But I didn't know about that mental abuse or that emotional abuse. That thing was crazy.
Yeah.
Because I never really shared or I never really experienced emotions until till I was hurt. So that's crazy. It hurts more mentally than physical. Exactly.
It's a different type of. It's something different. You can't get to it. Right. Like, you know, you can't you can't put a Band-Aid over it and in time. I mean, in time, everything heals, but you can't put a Band-Aid over it and make it feel better.
That's right. I remember being in the
You
bathroom
know?
crying like, God, I did this thing, whatever
You
was in
couldn't
here,
get to it.
I need this out.
You couldn't get to it.
My whole life, I've been able to deal with this because I did not allow anybody in here, and I didn't feel anything.
And
So whatever reason that was, it was fine with me. When that thing started hurting me, I was like, I could just dig this thing. I just want it out.
Yes.
I don't
It's
want to feel
crazy
that. You
that
know?
you say that, because I remember when my brother died, like my mother, she tried to, she was like scratching at her chest. She was like, it hurts inside her head. Like, I can't, she couldn't
That's
get
terrible.
to it.
Yes, you cannot.
You cannot get to it. You
Ooh.
gotta go through it.
Oh,
And it's crazy, because it's like something that you can't get to, but you gotta go through. Something that you can't touch, but you still gotta go through.
Right.
Like, it's
Right.
unbelievable.
Right. One of the
Unbelievable.
scriptures that I used to just there's a scripture, and I'm not gonna recite it correctly, I'm
Which
sure,
one
but
is it?
the race is not given to the swift nor bread to the wise, but to them who endures to the end. That's not the whole scripture, but that's one of the things that I kept hearing, because people kept saying, because people could tell people like leave. They tell them leave that, because I remember having a friend, and I'm like, just leave him. He can hear you.
do
Leave
that,
him.
though. You
And I
can't.
could not understand it until I was in something, and I couldn't leave. I don't know what was happening.
That's
Like, I wanted to
telling-
let you leave.
yeah,
I just
that's
didn't know how to
somebody
do
with
it.
depression, come on, get up, go out, do something, get out this room, get out this bed, get dressed, go do something. No, it don't work like
way.
that.
And so what I kept saying to
It
myself,
don't
I kept
work
saying,
like
I don't
that.
know why I'm here. I don't know what it is that God has me doing, if it's to teach them or me a lesson, but I know I have to endure this to the end, that the prize at the end of this is going to be great. And the prize is sitting before you. This right here, what we're doing is what the prize is opening up to give you guys the opportunity to converse with us, to heal, for us to learn, hear from you, and just do some great things. This is just the beginning. You know what I mean? And I think that this is great, and I appreciate you all for that. Well, come on, put that scripture up for me. Come on here.
Hey,
This is what I'm
That's
saying.
right,
Put it on here, because I'm
that's
always
right.
gonna bring holiness around me.
the race is not given to the swift nor the battle to the strong,
but to him
who endures to the end.
And that's the scripture that I was hearing the
Yes.
whole time. Even though I was in it, even though it hurt, it was God just kept telling me that. God kept telling me that. Even woke me up one day and just said, "Fear not, for I am with you." And I was like, okay, I started to wake up then. And once I got a little taste of that, you couldn't mess with me then. I was like, you don't even see me changing right before your eyes, do you? That was a difference. I was a whole nother person once I was able to understand and able to articulate and communicate that. And then, life went on. 10 years later, here I am. And I feel like whoever I allow myself to get involved with, to that point where there will be commitment, is going to get a gem. That's just how I feel. But I'm just not going to just do it to anybody. You're just not going to take advantage of me. Not anymore. I've been there and done that. Yep, I've been there and done that. So what else you got?
all right. How do you feel about the person who you identify your hurt with? Like, how do you feel about them today?
So for me, and this sounds crazy, but I thank them. And not for that I still love them. I talk to them, you know what I mean? I mean, it's not, I don't have a bad, I don't have I just don't allow myself to feel that. I feel like that hurts me, but I thank them. Why? Because if God had not used them, although it hurt me, I would not be here. And I'm telling you, you guys have no idea. Even from me being younger, I've always been the person that every adult would come and sit down and talk to. The person that I would consult everybody. So I knew that this was the direction that God was taking me in even before I knew it. I didn't understand it then. But I feel like it forced me to work harder and faster. It forced me to build a better relationship with God. It forced me to be in a space of healing from things that I never, ever, ever thought that I would heal from. And that was like the abandonment, like what they said, because from being with my father and him moving on with his life, but still loving me and me not understanding that and allowing him to come in, then I never got that love from a man. I never understood what security meant. That's why I was so strong, and I don't need you. I make my own money. I don't need you. I can do this. I never allowed the man to be a man because I didn't need that. I thought, you know what I mean? But now, with all of that, the recovery, it allows me to understand, and it allows me to see this is what this man needs, and I need to allow him to be that. I don't need to be him. But he needs to know that I can handle this whether he's here or there. You know what I mean? So I had to understand those things.
Right.
So I feel great about them. They could call. I mean, they help me even with stocks and bonds. Investing and things like that. Be on it.
Yeah.
They understand what happened in the end. They understand what they actually lost. But I know one thing: I will never do that again. They asked me, I was like, "Child, you would never ever again. You hurt me one time. That's it."
Okay. Well, this is good. This is good, as you would say.
This is
said
good. Well, I'm glad to see you guys pop in and stay with us for
I
this
thank
long.
you guys for talking to each other. Like we said, we can't get to every single comment, but we see you guys conversing with each other, and that's what this is all about. We're here to entertain, empower, and
Inspire.
Yeah. So I almost forgot. Excuse me. But
You're crazy.
what?
You fell, Lena. Up here, you up here? Did you fall here? Where she fell at? I heard something.
I don't know.
I just heard Benji bark.
I don't know what's going on upstairs, but
Another pretty dope conversation tonight. Yes,
I thank y'all.
indeed.
I thank
Thank
y'all
you, Lane.
for
Thank
this
you, Lisa.
topic.
What's her name? Acevedo. I'm gonna say your last name because that's what we do at work. I don't know.
Yeah, I thank y'all for tuning in. I thank y'all for sticking with us for this whole hour. Who hurt you? If you didn't get into the conversation, just think about it. It's not only that one person, it could be multiple people that hurt you throughout the course of your life, and identify that and deal with it and heal with it. So, from my mouth to God's ears, we see you next Tuesday, and I am Shay Means. I'm here with my girl
T-Mac.
and we are a pretty dope conversation. I thank you.
Hey, 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 hey.